Hey everybody, welcome to the Rope Break. I am your host, Jeff Wolf. Alongside me, like always, is Eric Vanek. Eric, say hi to the people for me.
Hello, everybody.
We have a huge show today. Big happenings in Raw, Smackdown, Impact, so we're going to go into all those recaps, tell you everything that we thought was the big parts of the shows. And also we're going to do a little bit of the big three to end the show, where we're going to touch on three topics that we collectively thought were kind of the big things that happened this week.
Yep, and then we got a big debut coming from Impact. I can't wait to talk about it.
It's a big one. But we're going to start like we always do with Raw. Yeah, we'll get into Impact. There's a lot of things to talk about from Impact. It's another A-star show, like always. Raw this week was kind of like where it's been, I guess you could say. It hasn't been
average.
Yeah, about average. There was some things that were good. There was some things that were like, what? But I mean, it's basically Raw is that show, and SmackDown, like we'll get into, is I know. I mean, I think it's agreeable that SmackDown is just the A show now. But we'll get into that later. For Raw, we started the show like we've been starting the show, and it's a very big pattern, it seems, in WWE lately, and I'm kind of getting a little tired of it, but the matches have been good. So we had a six-man match with the Wyatt family defeating the Rhodes and Ray. It was an awesome match. I think if anything, if you take this match versus the main event, this is the match that probably should have ended the show. But it was an awesome match. The Wyatt family is definitely showing that them versus the Shield later on in the month is going to be really fun to see.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the Wyatt family and the Shield is going to be. I mean, it might even steal the show at the pay-per-view. Who knows? But definitely a good start of Raw with this match. I'm like you. I'm kind of getting tired of these six-man matches to start off the show. Or, I mean, it's just like some 4-year-olds booking, which there probably is some 4-year-old booking. Probably Triple H's kids are booking the show right now.
He's got the girls on the payroll already.
Yeah, like he's like, okay, girls, here, pick 6 guys, and we'll start off the show with that. You know.
But I mean, it was a really good match. I mean, I obviously love watching the Wyatt family wrestle. I love watching the Rhodes. I mean, the fact they brought in Goldust, and Goldust is, I think he's like, I don't know if it's the DDP yoga he does or what, but he's actually probably the most athletic I've seen him in a real long time. And his matches with him and Cody together, it's a really awesome thing to see. And Ray, you throw in, he's always going to be able to do some flashy little athletic moves and everything, and it's fun to see. Personally, being a big Ray fan, he could leave the company tomorrow and I wouldn't really mind. But while he is there, he does have a fun element to these matches, and it was a good match to start the show.
Yeah, and like you were just saying, I mean, there's a couple guys in WWE who, for whatever reason, are just not liked anymore, or they're always injured, like Ray and Christian come to mind, where they're pretty much not going to be a factor anymore. They're just there to sell some merchandise, help get some guys over, and that's about it. They'll never be world champion or hold a major title ever again.
No, you're right. And we kind of had a pattern starting Raw because that was a really good match, and then we went into another really good match that had a guy you just mentioned, Christian and Sheamus. They defeated the Real Americans, and I thought this was a really, really surprising match to me because I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was, and really all 4 men kind of had like highlight moments in the match, and one that really comes to mind is when I forget who Swagger was kind of like jawing with or something, but Swagger was kind of bent over, and Cesaro just like hit the ropes behind him and leaped over him, and just it seemed like the kind of move that Jack Swagger wasn't expecting Cesaro to do. Maybe he did realize what he was doing, but it didn't look like it. But it was just a really cool moment. And, I mean, all 4 men, even Jack Swagger. I know I get down on Jack Swagger a lot, but even Jack Swagger had some highlight moments in the match, and all 4 men really did a great job.
Yeah, I agree. And this week, really, Swagger really stepped his game up, as we'll talk about with SmackDown. So, I mean, Swagger had a really good week. I still think WWE's high on him. I mean, the guy's still young. It's not like he's not over 30 yet. So the guy still has a lot of potential. He's still doing really good. It's an odd pairing with Christian and Sheamus, but it actually worked pretty well. They did pretty good. I mean, they're both pros. They're both, good at what they do. I know Sheamus is, he's just coming back. He's still getting into it, but it really looks like he hasn't really missed a beat at all.
No, he's Christian and Sheamus both, like, since returning, have really done some really awesome matches since coming back. And usually there's a little bit of ring rust. It takes them a little bit to get back in the swing of things. I mean, I know you could say Batista, but Batista's been out a little bit longer than Christian and Sheamus, so it's going to obviously take him a little bit longer to get back into the swing of things. But and I think to add to your point, I think Jack Swagger hasn't been completely forgotten by the WWE, but at the same time, I don't think he will ever be a world champion again. I think him winning the Intercontinental title, if he does, we'll get into that for SmackDown. Ooh, spoiler alert. I know.
Like anybody hasn't watched it.
Yeah, exactly. But I think Jack Swagger is a perfect candidate for being in that mid to higher mid card level in the shows, and he doesn't have to have that pressure of having world title matches either. So I think they're going to continue doing that. But yeah, again, another awesome match by the Real Americans.
Yep, definitely. It's obvious to see Cesaro is going to be the star out of this team, but I wouldn't count out Swagger. I mean, he is a former world champion, even though it might have been premature, but he's still a former world champion. The guy's still talented as hell, so I agree with you. I think like that Intercontinental U.S. title range for him would be great. I still really can't believe that Swagger and Cesaro haven't won the tag titles yet as a team.
Yeah,
and that shocks me because they're one of the best teams in WWE.
Yeah, I think that really would have helped out both men in a quicker fashion. And it was kind of a thing where I know, talking to you, talking to other people as well, it was almost the kind of thing where people were just expecting it to happen at some point, but it never did, and it might not happen anymore, depending on where they're going with both men. It seems they're both kind of pushing both men as singles guys, and we probably won't be seeing much of the Real Americans as a team going forward past the Elimination Chamber. But we're going to move on from that. We also had Del Rio taking on Dolph Ziggler this week, which Ziggler, again, had a really, really short match.
Well, these two have fought in the past, and they've had amazing matches.
Yeah. They're
just given no time. Dolph is being used as just somebody to get people over. It's like Dolph Ziggler is on his way down the Zack Ryder route, which I don't get at all. Dolph Ziggler is one of the most talented wrestlers in this company, and they are definitely misusing him. They're misusing a lot of people. That's why I always talk to you about brand splits, because you got to showcase more people on each show. You weren't having, a whole roster on one show every week. So that's another reason they're being misused. But the match ended with Batista coming down and attacking Del Rio, and Batista put his ass through the announcer's table, which was pretty cool.
Yeah, the match itself sucked. I mean, Ziggler again
just get right to the point.
Yeah, I mean, Ziggler again gets put right into a match that's basically he's jobbing. He was there just to make Del Rio look good. Del Rio did look good versus him. It just, in my mind, it's mind-boggling that they're doing this with Ziggler time and time again. Then Batista comes down, he attacks Del Rio, puts him right through the table. Awesome moment. And it really helps that feud on both sides, because it helps Del Rio look powerful against a guy like Dolph Ziggler, who is a former world champion, and then it also makes Batista look just as powerful, being able to just demolish him right through a table. So it was good for their upcoming match. It's just, as me and you both being Ziggler fans, we're like, what's going on here? Time and again, it just keeps happening, and it's like, is it going to end? Like, is this just what they're going to do with Ziggler? Is he just going to be there, just pretty face, just to sell some merchandise and just keep on taking these beatings? Because that's what it looks like.
Yeah, well, the thing with it is, it's like he kind of has the Christian mold to him right now, like, because he's gotten hurt and he's had 2 concussions over the last year. They're like punishing him for having concussions. It's like so weird. I mean, the guy's had these pushes, when he cashed in his title, and he got a concussion like a couple weeks later, and then he lost the title after he came back after a month or whatever he was off, and then he got another concussion. It's like they're just punishing him for getting a concussion. I mean, just stupid philosophy.
Yeah. Hopefully it changes, but I don't think it will, honestly. And then from that, we're going to go right into the Usos match. The Usos were facing against Ryback and Axel this week, and the New Age Outlaws were out on commentary. They did a thing prior in the night where they tried to kind of fool Betty White and put what was like eye drops into her hot tea, and then she switched it for Billy Gunn. So Billy Gunn was acting like he had to demolish a toilet or something like that the whole time they're out there. The match itself was okay. Ryback as a team is they're okay. I think Ryback by himself is better.
There's just something about Curtis Axel I just never really got.
No, I mean, as when he first came on as Michael McGillicuddy, there was hopes for him. I know in NXT he was there a lot. They were really trying to just give him any opportunity they possibly could, trying to just define his skills in NXT, and they brought him back up, and he is what he is. He's a very boring, basic wrestler.
What it is, it's an entertainment-based company, and he can't entertain. He just can't.
Yeah.
But he can wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
So he would be better off in a like TNA that showcases more wrestling than entertainment. He would really be better off in TNA, but I mean that's just how Curtis Axel is.
Yeah, and even in TNA, I think he would struggle. I just don't think he's got that it factor. I mean, it's a shame coming from his family tree, and with his grandfather, then with his father. It's a huge shame because to me he just doesn't entertain people, like you said, in any kind of way. But anyway, in that match, the cool thing was at the end, the Usos do pick up the win. They kind of do this thing where they're jumping out over the ropes, and while in midair, they tag each other in, which is just, if you haven't seen it, it's a really cool thing. It's one of the coolest things I've seen in a tag team match for a real long time. So it was just a real fun moment. Usos haven't been confirmed to have a title shot, but you'd have to assume at Chamber they're going to be getting their title shot versus the Outlaws. If not, maybe WrestleMania. Either way, it's definitely a good thing. I know a lot of people have been high on the Usos and just want them to just finally be given something that they've worked so hard for. I mean, not even just at the main roster, but again, like in NXT. I know we would watch NXT, and they were on every single week. Doing their thing, and they've really become a really popular team on the main roster now. So it's a real cool thing to see them in this spotlight now, and hopefully they are given the gold very soon.
Yeah, I agree. I would expect them to have a match at Elimination Chamber. I wouldn't be surprised if it's like the opening pre-show match.
Yeah, because
that's just something WWE does, and then they'll go ahead and put in Gilbert versus Honky Tonk Man or something for on the actual pay-per-view. But I agree. They definitely need the tag titles. I mean, right now they're one of the hottest tag teams in WWE. They're gonna. I mean, I remember when they were with NXT a lot. There's a lot of speculation that they didn't have something, and they were just missing it, needed to work on it, and it seems like they've worked on it, and they're going to be one of the better tag teams for a while in WWE. But the one thing I'm interested in, and this could be a topic for down the road, just maybe a little hint, but what will happen if these two ever do split up, kind of like Jeff and Matt Hardy did? Are they going to fuck that up too? We'll see.
Yeah, that would be. Gosh, I really hope that's not even in the mind frame right now. That would be really horrible.
No, that ain't for at least another year or two. But
yeah, I mean it's definitely a possibility, especially if they both have aspirations of going solo and not staying together. But yeah, hopefully that doesn't happen for a very, very long time, because I think as a team they have a lot of. The ceiling is very high for what they can actually do with the tag division.
Yeah, Yeah, they need multiple tag team runs,
Yeah.
tag title runs. What they really need is another team to just push them all the time. And, we expect Cody and Goldust to be gone here, or broken up here shortly. The Real Americans will probably be broken up here sometime soon. The Outlaws are probably going to go back to backstage duty. So who is the Usos really going to, face against all the time? I don't see Ryback being their top opponent, so WWE needs to get some tag teams together. That's why I'm kind of shocked that they didn't sign the Wolves like TNA did.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, with all these teams that are about to be taken out, you go from a division that's very strong to a division that's not that strong anymore, and it's actually pretty average, which is unfortunate because this tag division was, I wouldn't say attitude era strong, because there was just so many amazing tag teams at that time.
Yeah.
It was the highest we've seen, I think, since that time.
Yeah, definitely.
And then we go from the tag titles to the U.S. title. We actually, this was huge. We actually had a United States Championship match.
I think enough people bitched about it.
Yeah.
And
the match itself wasn't anything special. It was announced that it was going to be a mystery opponent. And that mystery opponent ended up being Mark Henry. There was a DQ. It wasn't that good of a match. Mark Henry did not look that great in my book. He looked better on SmackDown than he did on Raw. But I thought it was like typical WWE, I feel, because they already were doing vignettes and stuff like that and on-screen promo things, I guess you could say, saying Mark Henry was returning. So it was already fresh in people's mind that Mark Henry was returning. Why not make it someone different for this mystery opponent? I mean, as soon as it happened, I looked at Roman Reigns' face, and it looked like he was about to jump at the opportunity to grab the U.S. title from him. Or
yeah, that's who I thought it was going to be personally.
That's who I thought it was going to be. There's people on Twitter saying, I bet it Lance Storm himself was predicting it was going to be The Miz. And if that would have happened, I thought that would have been really cool because of The Miz kept on coming down. He came down again on Raw, just on the microphone real quick and being like, why are these people in the ring? Why aren't I in the ring? I feel that would have been a cool thing too, to have The Miz come down and he could have taken the U.S. title from Dean Ambrose. It wouldn't, because Dean Ambrose doesn't really, that title does nothing for Dean Ambrose anymore.
Well, yeah, when you don't fucking defend it, it ain't going to do anything for you.
No.
I mean, if he actually defended it every week, and like he should, I mean, he's a very good wrestler. The guy should be wrestling, but they're always doing six man with fucking, with WWE. They're always doing these 6-man matches, so you never really get to see Reigns or Rollins or Ambrose in solo matches. So I think they need to start getting into that, and once they break up, obviously they're going to do more solo matches. So
yeah. Well, who would you have liked to see be that mystery opponent?
Well,
outside of Roman Reigns.
Yeah, I was going to say Roman Reigns would have definitely been my pick. Another guy I would have loved to seen was Dolph Ziggler, but he already had a match earlier in the night.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, for somebody that I really didn't, that nobody would really think of, I would probably have to say, man, that's tough to even think about right on the spot. But yeah, I'll probably just stick with Dolph. I think Dolph deserves that spot. I mean,
that's not a bad choice. Dolph would have definitely been good. I was just looking for anyone besides Mark Henry. Like, I was expecting it to be Mark Henry just because.
Like anybody but Mark Henry or Great Khali or some shit.
Oh, yeah. I shouldn't say anyone but Mark Henry, because Mark Henry would have been better than Great Khali.
Speaking of Khali, I'll have to mention it for SmackDown talk, but
and then,
I think you know what I'm getting at.
Yes. And then they introduced another person from the Hall of Fame, and we actually forgot to talk about this a couple weeks ago when they introduced Jake the Snake Roberts. So they introduced Jake the Snake a couple weeks ago. This week they introduced Lita, which was surprising, but a very good surprise. Lita, to me, is definitely one of the greatest females wrestlers that has ever come into the company, ever. She has a very, very unique style. She was extremely entertaining. She was a part of the Hardy Boys' success. She was a part of Edge's success. Lita definitely deserves this. It's awesome to see her get in. And going back to, because we didn't mention it, Jake the Snake, to me, I loved seeing him come in. He was never a world champion. He was never a top guy ever. We now know that he was pretty much drugged out of his mind most of the time that he was in there. But even that being said, he did some amazing matches. He had some amazing chemistry with people. He's one of the greatest talkers in the WWE ever. He has a very unique style, a very unique gimmick. He's the first that made the DDT popular. So both of those people getting in is definitely an awesome thing to go with the Hall of Fame this year.
Yeah. I'll start with Jake Roberts first. Jake definitely deserves it. Like you had already mentioned, he was, decent wrestler, one of the best talkers to ever come into wrestling, period. Unique gimmick with the snake and all that. Just a very well-rounded character, very entertaining for his time. Obviously, WWE had to wait for him to clean up his act and get clean before they would ever put him in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So when he got with DDP and DDP got him on the right path, he's really a changed man. And I'm glad for Jake. That's awesome. So for a presenter, I would hope DDP presents him. I don't really know who else could present him, to be honest with you.
That's a good question.
I would think DDP, since DDP got him back on the right path, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, but if it's not going to be DDP, it would definitely be someone that wrestled with him in the 80s to very early 90s. But I think right now in his life, I think it would mean more to him to have DDP bring him in, and I think DDP would be able to have a real emotional speech set for him. So I think that's
and
really good thing.
I think I personally just want to hear the old WCW DDP music when he comes out again,
that would be awesome.
Just to mark out one more time.
Yeah.
And then Lita, obviously, unique style, just a total badass diva. Her and Trish Stratus are the two that built the Divas division to what it is today. Obviously back then it was a lot better than it is right now, but they made, the women's wrestling better. So much better. Leaps and bounds better. And these two are the main reason why. She was a great manager with the Hardy Boys, and then with Edge, she did awesome work with Edge as well. So she is very deserving. I think Michael Hayes in his little video piece put it best. She wasn't a diva. She was a chick. She was a cool chick. And it was a chick that you wanted to date. She was just that kind of girl that you could, not one, kind of like one of the boys, but she was just an amazing performer, and it's well deserved. And I'm glad that both of these are in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, it was worth mentioning, and then I apologize for forgetting to mention the Jake the Snake thing from a couple weeks ago, but I wanted to make sure we went over that as well. Next on Raw, we had one of the most epic moments to me for a while. In this day and age for WWE, I don't mark out very often, but I was marking out for this, where the Wyatts and the Shield were having their stare down. I thought it was done absolutely perfect. I feel it was done so good for this point in the feud going into the match, where they weren't having to attack each other. It was the anticipation of what's going to happen when these two teams finally do get together at the Chamber.
Yeah, definitely. I've, like you said to me too, a couple people have mentioned to you, and we've heard on the internet, why didn't these two fight? Why didn't they attack each other? It would have been so much better. No, not at all. This is done perfectly. WWE actually did something right for a change, and just have an awesome stare down, give you more anticipation, more build up for what's to come at the Elimination Chamber. We both complain that WWE doesn't do enough of this, and they finally did it. I praise them. Thank you, WWE.
Yeah. It was just a stare down, so there's not much to really say about it, but yes, definitely thumbs up in my book for WWE. I don't give you guys enough credit. This time I give you guys all the credit in the world because it was done perfectly. And then to end the show, we had John Cena and Randy Orton fighting yet again. I think Vince thought that this was going to be an awesome match, like he thinks every single time. It's going to be an awesome match when you have John Cena and Randy Orton face each other. It was better, but it was still
It was better than their Royal Rumble match.
I mean, there was still boring chants. There was still a whole bunch of fans chanting about stuff in the match. Same old shit, I think, was even used. It was definitely a better match. It was a good ending. It was predictable because I think this now completely shows what they're going to be trying to do, and that's have Randy Orton get defeated by every single Chamber opponent, and he walks in a Chamber and he somehow ends up winning at the Chamber.
Well, he hasn't beaten everybody. He beat Christian, so.
Yeah, but hasn't he beaten every single?
Well, he lost to Daniel Bryan. He lost to.
Yeah. That's right.
He lost on SmackDown to who we're going to talk about later, and he lost to Cena, and he still has to fight Sheamus this Monday on Raw.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying though. I probably worded it wrong. All of his opponents are going to beat him, and then he's going to go into Chamber and he's going to win.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a possibility. I thought this match was a lot better than the Royal Rumble match, obviously. It was I would say a little bit above average. I think it was a solid match for what it was. Definitely a decent ending. I agree with Cena getting the win here. I like giving the other guys a little bit more momentum going into the Chamber because having all these guys winning matches, I mean, you got so many big names in this match. You got Daniel Bryan, you got John Cena, you got Sheamus, Christian, Orton. You don't know who's going to win. That's what Chamber matches are awesome for. You got 5 guys in there, and or 6 guys, and you really don't know who's going to win. So I give WWE credit for this. I mean, they're making it legit that anybody could win this title and be the new face of the WWE.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, and the matches have all been pretty quality matches too.
Yeah. None of the matches have sucked. I mean, all of them have been good.
Yeah.
And I'm actually really looking forward to Orton and Sheamus this week. I think they're going to put on a pretty good match for 2 bigger guys. There's just something about Sheamus. He always delivers to me, like, in these big matches. So
yeah,
I'm really looking forward to it.
He's done a really good job as of late too. So overall, Raw, what kind of grade would you give it?
I would say a little bit above average. Better than last week's Raw, but not that much better than last week's Raw.
Yeah, I thought it had a couple really good starting points. The stare down with the Wyatts and the Shield definitely was a big moment. The main event was decent. So I mean, it was what it was, an average Raw. I guess a little bit better than average. And then we're gonna get right into SmackDown. Which we both agree, I believe, was the second week in a row.
Best show again, yeah.
I mean, they just keep busting out really awesome matches, and the wrestling talent on the matches have been top par compared to Raw and obviously Impact. I mean, Impact is as far away from WWE as it has ever been.
It's almost like an indie show.
Yeah, it really is. It's now. We'll get more into it later, but you're now seeing why Vince would say things that it's like an indie company. It's not on their level. And before that may not have been true. That is absolutely true right now. But I digress. We'll get into that later. SmackDown started off with, this might come as a shocker, but another 6-man tag match.
No way. Holy shit.
Yeah. I question how long they can actually keep doing these 6-mans, but they've been going strong for quite a while now, and I think they're just going to keep doing it. I know it's a good way to show off some of your big talent, especially when you have these these 6-man matches with the Shield or with the Wyatt family. It was a great match. It's just, I know as a fan, I'm kind of getting a little tired of these.
Yeah, and like we said in the past, you can only get in so many limited moves before you tag in your next guy or whatever. So, I mean, that's basically what it was. Daniel Bryan hit a couple of his moves. Sheamus, Christian, the Shield, all those guys hit a couple of their main maneuvers. I really loved the ending to this match because you had Christian holding up, I think it was Dean Ambrose, and Sheamus went to give him the bro kick, and Ambrose ducked, and Sheamus just kicked Christian's head off into the 7th row.
Yeah.
And I thought that was awesome. And then Sheamus was, shocked. He was looking over Christian, make sure he was all right, and Reigns came in and delivered a nasty spear.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a good match. I mean, if the main event wasn't what the main event was, I'd say that this should have been the main event. But we'll get into later.
Well, it's like every week now. It's like the first match is like a main event match, and the last match has pretty much been a main event match. So it's like that's cool for fans, But like I've heard, WWE has to do this where, it's like a roller coaster. You just start off on a high, then you got to bring the fans down, and then back up and down and back up because you don't want them to be. You can't have a stacked card every night, otherwise you're going to kill the crowd.
Yeah.
By the time they get to the main event, they're like, okay, I'm done, dude.
Yeah, it's very much like the WCW mold where they would have the cruiserweights go out first and they'd really get the fans jacked.
Yeah.
And then we're going to go into someone that we touched up on earlier in the Raw review, and that's Jack Swagger. We had a four-way match for a shot at the Intercontinental title. It was Jack Swagger, Kofi Kingston, Mark Henry, and Rey Mysterio. And it was really a really good four-way match. Jack Swagger ended up getting the win and gets the shot versus Big E. I'd say the biggest disappointment on this match is actually the commentary. They put Big E on commentary, and he was definitely exposed. He barely said anything. I mean, even at the end where he's talking about Jack Swagger winning and what his future match with him, JBL kind of had to talk into him saying, "You're going to win, right?" And he's like, "Oh yeah, obviously." So it just that I didn't care for. I feel they kind of threw him under the bus in a sense because they know where he's at microphone-wise. But match-wise, this match was really awesome.
Yeah, it was definitely a very good match. Honestly, I didn't see Swagger winning it when it first started. Another gripe I had with this match was, why is Mark Henry in it?
Yeah.
I mean, you got Swagger in there, you got Ray, and you got Kofi. I mean, all those guys are quicker, faster wrestlers. And Henry is just going to slow them down, if anything. Henry just came back. He hasn't really earned this match. He already had a U.S. title match that he had on Raw. Now he has an Intercontinental title opportunity match. And, I mean, he's been injured, so why did he deserve that? Why isn't I can't think of anybody off the top of my head that's been doing decent. I mean, even Miz.
Yeah, Miz, Fandango.
Miz, Fandango, Damian Sandow, something.
Sandow would have been perfect for this.
Yeah, I mean, put somebody in this match, that could, deserves it.
Yeah.
I mean, Mark Henry's at the point I love Mark Henry. I love him as his character, but he definitely doesn't deserve this spot right now. I think the other guys did. But in the end, though, a very good match. I mean, it was great back and forth. I love how Swagger won it with the Patriot Lock, and I'm really glad that they actually did have Swagger win. I didn't think they would have him win, but they did. And I'm guessing Big E and Swagger is going to face at Elimination Chamber, either on the actual pay-per-view or the pre-show match. I don't see Swagger winning this match at all, but I think it should at least be a decent match.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he's going to get the win. If so, I think it would be pretty deflating for Big E to lose there. I could see Big E losing at a WrestleMania, but against Swagger at Chamber would make no sense to me for him to lose the belt there. But yeah, a good match. I like that Swagger kind of dragged Kofi in with the Patriot Lock. He got out of it. Then he was going in for his kick, and Swagger caught him again. And then he really Kofi really sold it there at that point. The pain that he was in at that point, he really definitely drove it home. And Swagger getting the win's good. I love seeing him in this kind of role where he's a mid-level talent. I think this is where he shines the most, like I talked about a little bit earlier. So I thought it was a good match, good ending. Happy with Swagger getting the win, and I expect him and Big E to have a pretty good match. And then we then go into the Usos and the Rhodes Brothers face off in a 8-man tag match against the Outlaws and Ryback.
Yeah, that was it was a decent match. The Usos really shine in this one again, I thought. I know I forget who does the big splash at the end, but one of them does it, and he does it really cool. He looks back at the camera and then splashes out. I think that was really cool. Definitely a really good match. It furthers the Usos versus Outlaws match that is definitely brewing. Definitely a really good 8-man tag for this match.
Yeah, Usos and Rhodes, two of obviously the hottest teams going on right now. Ryback's basically just there, just to ride.
Yeah, they're like the only other heel tag team right now.
Yeah. And then the Outlaws putting on great matches still. Like it makes me think, why couldn't they just have cleaned up and stayed in WWE and had some more historical kind of matches up to this point? If they're wrestling like they are now, they missed out on some awesome opportunities, I feel, just by not taking WWE's advice and going into rehab. But I thought this match was really good. The Usos are really, really showing everyone that they are the best team. I think the Rhodes were really cool at the end, where they're kind of showing off the Usos, saying that these are the next big guys, even though the Rhodes just lost the tag titles. So I thought that was a cool moment. The Usos doing kind of like the suck it to DX when they're doing their kind of moves and stuff like that. I think that's kind of cool too. So I really did enjoy this match. And I'm definitely looking forward to the Usos and New Age Outlaws at hopefully at Chamber. Like again, we said before, it's not confirmed yet, but I would assume it's just a matter of time before it does get confirmed. And then we then have Titus attacking Darren Young after his match. I'm slipping right now. Do you remember who Darren Young faced?
Not off the top of my head again, but I know it was. I remember being pissed off about it because why is Darren Young beating this guy?
Yeah, the whole thing just it makes Darren Young look even stronger yet again. Titus attacked Darren Young, but Darren Young quickly gain
the upper hand.
Yeah, I mean, he refocused his attention to Titus, and he tears his pants, he tears his suit or his shirt. Darren Young comes out looking stronger than Titus yet again. I understand feud-wise you want maybe the payoff to be Titus is the one that just destroys him, but I think at this point you're actually making Titus look really small.
Yeah. Darren Young faced off against Damian Sandow.
Oh, okay.
That's who I thought it was.
Okay, yeah.
And I'm like, why are they jobbing out Sandow?
Yeah.
But okay.
Maybe Sandow and Ziggler will just form a tag team of pissed off jobbers.
Well, that's what they were supposed to do with Miz and fucking Dolph.
But that hasn't transpired yet.
But anyways, definitely like I'm already tired of this Titus O'Neil and Darren Young match. They both fucking suck. Get them off my TV. I'm just tired of it.
Yeah.
They wasted an opportunity with Brodus Clay. Brodus Clay, I think, at least has some talent. I mean, he's better than Titus Young. I would take Brodus Clay over Titus Young right now. And, Brodus Clay hasn't even been seen in a month. They had the same type of breakup as these two had, and they could have played it out a lot better. I think Brodus Clay is a more usable person with being a bigger guy. He can talk. He can wrestle. I just don't see anything with Titus Young. I don't see anything with Darren Young. I just want this to be over. Get him off my TV.
Yeah, I can really expect this just to be like a one-match wonder kind of thing, where they just had to break them up. They're going to have their one match. They're going to see where it takes both men. But I could definitely see that it taking both men just fired.
This match should be on Superstars.
Yeah. And
their big payoff match should be on Superstars.
If this match is going to make the card, and like we said, that tag match is going to be the like online free match, then that's going to be freaking stupid.
Yeah. It's just another WWE.
Yeah. And then we then have Miz and Fandango. Miz complains, and I guess he gets Fandango. The cool thing about this match was Summer Rae and Emma were fighting on the outside. We got to see Emma in more of a role than her just doing her little peck dance, whatever you want to call it, which is what I was looking forward to. I want to see Emma be a more serious kind of person and get to actually rumble a little bit. So it was cool to see them kind of fight on the outside. I think Miz does get the win here against Fandango, but I don't think it's.
Yeah, Santino helped
right.
him because he did. Yeah, Santino did the Cobra Strike into Fandango, and knocked him back in the Miz, and Miz did his skull-crushing finale. And then Miz acted like, oh, that was all me, that was all me. I'm like, get out of here, dude.
Yeah.
But anyways, it was definitely, I mean, both, I think, Fandango, they put in so much hype, so much time into him, and they really haven't done too much with him yet. Miz has been misused for a while now. It just, I don't know, I don't get where they're going with either of these guys right now, to be honest with you.
No, I don't think they even know what they're doing with Miz now. I mean, Miz will come out on Raw and he'll complain that he's not being used enough. Then he gets a match with Fandango, who's not really a main level person whatsoever.
Yeah.
And he needs frickin' Santino and Emma to even get him the win. So it just doesn't make sense to me, and I don't think it's enough for the character at this point.
And what happened to Miz versus Wade Barrett, with Wade Barrett making fun of Miz every week?
Yeah. What is this?
Where,
is this TNA?
Where is this? I mean, Wade Barrett can wrestle. Miz can wrestle. Let these guys fight.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't even know why Wade Barrett... I mean, he must still be injured or something, is the reason that he hasn't fought yet, but I don't know what they're going to do with Wade Barrett.
They can't keep doing what they're doing. I mean, they got to do something with him. But yeah, he is a great talent, and I mean, at one point he was even looked at as winning one of the briefcases and going on to possibly being a world champion. So they obviously see something in him. He definitely has talent. We know that, but who knows? Who knows what they're going to be doing with him?
Yeah.
And then in the main event for SmackDown, we had an awesome match. I know we say the matches that we talk about are usually really good, but this match with Cesaro and Randy Orton was extremely good. It's really awesome to see Cesaro finally getting to show his wrestling talent, and not just against mid-level people. Versus Randy Orton this week, the world champion. He had an awesome match with him. Really got to show his talent. Really came out looking like $1 million at the end of it.
Oh yeah, I was kind of shocked that Cesaro got the win. I know you weren't kind of shocked, but he got the win clean, which was shocking to me. I'm glad that he won. It really showed off how good Cesaro is. This match is in my top 3 right now for matches of the year. You had the Daniel Bryan and Bray Wyatt match at Royal Rumble. You had the Daniel Bryan and Orton match on Raw, and then you had this match. So 3 of the top matches this year, right there. Cesaro and Orton put on a hell of a show on SmackDown. Best match of the week, by far.
Yeah. Not much really else needs to be said about it. I agree. It was definitely a top match of the year so far. I mean, we're only at the end of mid of February, so there's still a long time to go. But yeah, it was really awesome to see Cesaro able to get that clean win versus Orton. I mean, that does a lot for his character right there, especially going into the Chamber. And then I know, like on SmackDown, I believe it was Michael Cole talks with Triple H, and then Triple H actually mentions Cesaro again. So I think it was...
Yeah, as a surprise for the Chamber.
Yeah.
And then the other big point with commentary was JBL saying at the end of this match that this is the biggest win of Cesaro's career, and it is.
It truly is. This did amazing things for Cesaro from the fans' perspective. So Randy Orton giving him the win cleanly is a really big thing, and this main event was really a top-notch main event. SmackDown as a whole this week I thought was definitely the best show. It had some little things that were kind of like just dumb. I mean, like you said, not every match is going to be a 5-star match or anything like that. They have to advance some angles and some gimmicks in different kinds of ways. But I thought from head to toe, this was definitely the best show of the week.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
And then we go to the worst show of the week, which isn't saying too much. I mean, unless we want to start talking about main event, Impact is probably going to be the worst show. Actually, main event might be better than Impact some weeks.
Fucking Explosion might be better, and we don't even watch that.
Yeah. But yeah, Impact, we went ahead and we read what the show was going to be beforehand, and we both were laughing. We thought this was going to come off really bad. It wasn't a great show by any stretch of the imagination, but it was a lot better on TV than if you were to just read the spoilers. And again, we start the match with a Feast or Fired briefcase ladder match. It got announced that it was going to be what was it? Magnus? No, it was going to be Gunner versus EC3.
Well, they had the big old. Everybody came out, and MVP came out with Samoa Joe, I think it was, and they kind of were talking about when this match was going to take place, and Gunner came out and interrupted and said, that he wants to cash in his title opportunity, and he wanted to give Magnus a week in advance to get prepared for Gunner.
Yeah. And then this ended up turning into a tag team match, but really the only winners could have been Gunner or EC3, and it was a really good match, especially for surprising to be this to be the opening match. I thought the use of a ladder was really used well with everyone, and it was actually a very entertaining match, probably the most entertaining match on the card.
Yeah, it was a solid match. Before the match started, MVP said if there's any of Dixie's team shenanigans that he was going to even the odds. So, of course, Magnus comes out, starts attacking Gunner, and MVP comes out and adds, was it Samoa Joe to the match? Or Storm? I forget.
It was Storm, yeah.
Okay. He adds James Storm to the match. So they went on and had a tag team ladder match with still both briefcases hanging above the ring. Gunner is the one that ended up pulling both briefcases down, so now he has the world title shot, which he will get on next week's show, and the tag title briefcase.
Yeah. And again, we're using the briefcase as a whole heck of a lot, but at least we now know that the world title match will take place next week. And honestly, I'm actually really excited for Gunner. I used to really not like Gunner's style, and I thought he wasn't used in the way that he should have been used. But I think he's really shown that he really can have some really interesting matches, and he's getting better on the microphone as well. So I'm excited to see that match next week. But for this week, yeah, this was a very solid way to show or way to start Impact. And then later on in the night, we had the Wolves make their debut finally. MVP backstage kind of had a little confrontation with the Bromance and Zema Ion, and saying that that they were going to be facing the Wolves and someone else. They wondered if it was going to be against MVP. MVP said no, it wouldn't, but it would be against someone else that he chose, and that someone else ended up being Samoa Joe. I thought really Bromance and Zema Ion in this match are just fed to the Wolves, I guess you could say. It was a great debut showing off what the Wolves can do. They really busted out some real physical kind of maneuvers, especially to Robbie. But it was a good match.
Yeah, it was a decent match. That could have been. I mean, I actually it should have been longer, but probably shouldn't have been longer too, because I don't want to see these people in the ring that often. But the Wolves showed off some good moves. They didn't show off what they can really do, though, is what I'm trying to get at. So. Oh no,
not against this.
They deserved a better debut match than this, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, they definitely did deserve a better one. I know for me it was kind of strange seeing them in a TNA ring wrestling as opposed to a Ring of Honor ring wrestling. And it was actually really cool to see the Wolves there with Joe, especially for any older Ring of Honor fans. It's kind of just like a team Ring of Honor right there. But it was a good match. It was a good start of showing what the Wolves can do. I think they need to be in the ring with people that are more of that style that they are for it to really be good. Really, I just hope the Wolves can just get the titles off Bromance as quickly as possible, because it's kind of just pointless even being on Bromance at this point, and the Wolves are definitely the future for the tag team division. Now, who the Wolves are going to face after that, I have no idea, but it was a good match. But you're right, it did deserve more time, and hopefully maybe when they get on, well, I would say maybe when they get on the first pay-per-view, but pay-per-views really mean nothing nowadays for TNA. And then then we get into Abyss and Eric Young's soap opera saga, basically. Abyss basically comes down and kind of blames Eric Young for everything that's been going on, for Abyss realizing that he's who he is, the monster that he is, kind of exposing Abyss for what he is. Abyss kind of tells him that he's now going to have to leave and fix what Eric Young has done. And all I can ask is this over yet? Like, is this finally over? Is Abyss leaving going to finish this? Please just end this.
Yeah, it just needs to be over with. I mean, we both can't say it enough. It's just gone on way too long. Just something they need to end.
Yeah, we're not going to even talk much more about it. It is what it is. Hopefully, this is the end to it. Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Definitely, it definitely wasn't as entertaining as the next thing we are going to bring up. We then see a promo for Willow. And Eric, I'm going to let you first talk about Willow.
Okay, well, it was a very, weird promo. I didn't really know who it was at first until I kind of saw the face for the first time. And I'm like, oh my god, that's fucking Jeff Hardy. And I know Jeff Hardy has his own little side gimmick he does at, what's their thing called, Omega or something like that? Mm-hmm. Okay. So he has his own little gimmick over there, his own little, side personality. And Jeff Hardy must have more creative control than Hulk Hogan did in WCW, because he can pretty much do whatever he wants in TNA. So now he's going to come back as his Willow, I think it's Willow the Wisp character, Pussy Willow as I like to call it. So it was just a weird promo. Jeff Hardy's coming back as a second character. TNA has no stars right now. They need a Jeff Hardy, not Willow the Wisp. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, Willow, I've always laughed at this gimmick ever since knowing about Jeff Hardy doing this when he was with Omega back in the day with people like Matt Hardy and Shane Helms, Shannon Moore. It is what it is. I remember.
Explain it to me, because I've never seen it.
Well, I mean, it is what it is. Like, what that promo was is that's Willow. The funny thing though is when Jeff Hardy got released from WWE for the first time, he then later on went into Ring of Honor as this gimmick of Willow, and he got his ass booed so loud that day. The Willow character is I mean, what you see on the promo, it's Jeff Hardy's inner thoughts basically put out there. I mean, he makes it noted that he's a big Sting fan, and he likes that kind of a character. I think this was his way of kind of having a Sting-like character growing up. I agree. I don't think this was smart. I don't think there's a point to this. I think they need Jeff Hardy.
They're just letting him do whatever he wants, so he stays around.
And I don't know.
That's all it is.
Yeah, and I don't know if we're going to see Willow in some matches and we're going to see Jeff Hardy in some matches. I don't know what that's going to happen, what it's going to mean. But as far as a promo goes, it was creepy, it was crazy, it was weird. But we'll see where they take it.
That's the one thing I do want to say. It does have me interested. I kind of want to see. I want to see if it has success or will it fall flat on its face. I kind of hope it falls flat on its face, to be honest.
And speaking of something that falls flat on its face, is Chris Sabin and Velvet. Their whole thing where Velvet basically breaks up with Sabin, and Sabin looks like he's going to propose to Velvet, but tells her just how of a horrible person she is and that they're going to have a match now. They had a match this week, and I don't care for a man versus female match. It's stupid. It's pointless to me. And there really wasn't anything to note about the match. But they did introduce a new Amazon chick female that you could say, I guess. They didn't really give us a name. We went online and we looked a little bit on
it has a name. We just don't remember it, and
But they didn't tell us,
maybe
did they?
Yeah, maybe TNA. No, TNA will either tell you what the name is, next week or whatever it is. So
Yeah, I don't know.
But it's this big muscle bound chick. She's got like her head shaved on the sides and like a blonde ponytail, big thing on her head. Definitely nothing I would ever want to look at. I don't know why it's there. It's there now. Yeah.
We'll see where they take it from here. I mean, obviously I think it's just going to be like that China kind of gimmick bodyguard for Sabin. And then I would assume Velvet's going to bring in some guy for her or something. I don't know.
Monty Brown.
But yeah, it was duly to note that they brought in another female, and then hopefully in the weeks to follow we'll get more about her and figure out where they're going to take that character with her.
About it ever again.
Yeah. And then the actual main event for Impact was Bully Ray and Mr. Anderson. Before this
cardboard casket match.
Yeah, in what looked like a cardboard casket match. That casket, it was funny because Bully Ray kind of is moving it around at one point like it's very heavy, and then at another point he kind of pushes it and it goes halfway around across the ring. So and then at the very end you see the lid and it's coming apart. It's been put together by a middle school.
It's like Garrett Bischoff had nothing to do in the back and just made a casket for them out of cardboard.
Yes, like here you go, guys, enjoy. Beforehand, Bully Ray gets on the phone with Mr. Anderson's wife though, and he has a really dark conversation with her, like tell the kids that their dad says goodbye and stuff like that. It was very, very dark, very deep, very Raven-like, I thought. I love this character with Bully Ray.
The funny part that I found about this promo, I mean, it wasn't supposed to be funny, but me and you both own iPhones. We know he's on the contact screen when he's holding the phone up to his ear because it's all white. Yeah. So it's like, he's not actually talking to anybody, but it's still funny. It was definitely a good little promo, or I guess you can call it, from him. Made the match more interesting. The match itself was solid. Definitely, some hardcore stuff to it. I definitely liked the ending with the mic check into the coffin. I thought that was pretty cool. I'm guessing this ends this feud, finally, because, I mean, like we were both talking about, it's been how long since Anderson and Bully and the Aces and Eights had ended. It's like they do like a week of stuff and then they skip a week. A week of stuff, skip a week. So it's like sometimes it's not really fresh in the fans' minds.
Yeah. I think to me, like you said, it was a pretty solid match. It was, and the ending I thought was really fun where he does the mic check right into the casket to Mr. Anderson does to Bully Ray to get the win. But I fear that no one cares anymore. Much like the Eric Young versus Abyss stuff, no one really even cares about Aces and Eights anymore. It's not fresh in anyone's mind. The whole storyline with Anderson and Bully just makes no sense to people anymore. It's just these two guys keep going at it. Like, they don't even remember the stories, and TNA is doing a horrible job of reminding you about the story. They just don't even do any backtracking at all for this. So I agree. I hope this is the end of it. To me, this was a little too late to have this match, but it was a solid match. I did enjoy it. It made me laugh with the casket because it really was a really crappy casket. But yeah, I mean, it was definitely a solid main event. And then yeah, I mean, at the very end of the show, Dixie and MVP are just kind of like Dixie's trying to buy out MVP's stock in the company, which it was actually funny because on Twitter, Kevin Nash makes mention that the storyline makes absolutely no sense because it's not actually possible with the way the company is structured. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, it was overall, it was a better Impact than I thought it was going to be, but still, obviously, the worst of the three main shows this week.
Definitely.
All right, and then that's gonna finish up what we're talking about with the recap shows. It looks like we're definitely going over a little bit longer than we normally do, so I apologize for that. But we just got going with Raw this week, it seems.
And we had to make fun of Willow, the Pussy Willow, or whatever the fuck that thing is.
Yeah, we will. We'll see about where that takes us. But we would like to go into three main topics that we wanted to come across this week. The first being something that people haven't really mentioned much about, and I feel it's something that probably needs to be mentioned. People were complaining a lot before CM Punk did his little Stone Cold routine and took his ball and went home with it. But the rumored card for WrestleMania 30 really was looking horrible before all of this happened. And because of CM Punk leaving, they've had to rework Raws and Smackdowns and feuds and lead-ins and hypes and everything. And one of the big things that they've had to rework now is the WrestleMania 30 card. So my question to you is, do you think that WrestleMania 30 has actually been saved by CM Punk leaving?
I think the matches are a little bit better on paper now that we're going to it, but no, I don't think it's better off. CM Punk with Daniel Bryan, those two are the most talented wrestlers in the company. You want to have your most talented people wrestling on this show like they deserve. CM Punk is my favorite wrestler personally. There's no way I see it being him not being there is better for WWE. I just don't agree with that at all.
Well, my thing is I don't think that him being off the card is better. I think with him leaving, they've had to rework stuff, and I think by them reworking stuff and putting people in different ways, especially when you look at Daniel Bryan, where Daniel Bryan was headed, I think that's
well, we don't even know where he's headed yet. We've heard different things. You know,
that's true.
We still hear that he might be in the title match, and he might have a match with Triple H, or he might have a match with Stephanie McMahon. Who knows? You know.
My thing is, I think CM Punk not being on the show is obviously a huge loss, but I think what we're going to see for our final card on WrestleMania 30, I think one thing trickles down to each other things, and I think we're going to see a card that we're going to find to be more enjoyable than what we would have seen if CM Punk hadn't have done what he did.
Yeah, I agree.
And then the next thing is something that you wanted to bring up, and I thought it was a great idea. We're hearing a lot about Jeff Jarrett's, I don't know if you could say new promotion yet because it isn't a promotion yet, but we've seen videos that Jeff Jarrett has posted with him and his wife Karen, and going across the nation to Mexico, Japan, North America, to try to find the very best in professional wrestling talent and to kind of compile that together to have a new promotion. I myself think that this is an awesome idea. I think the Jarretts as a whole, I mean, historically the Jarretts, with Jerry Jarrett and Jeff both, I think they have a way of promoting a company and getting it out into the public in a very good way. And I think they both have a very keen eye on professional wrestling talent over the years.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on what you said. But, you know, I love Jeff Jarrett. That's probably one of my all-time favorites there.
Yeah.
He has a great eye for talent, like you said. He knows how to run a company. Him and his dad ran TNA in the beginning, and when TNA was, you know, they were starting to gain some momentum there until this, you know, he kind of washed out and went to AAA. But I think the only way this could be successful, though, is if he has a TV show to go with it. You know, even if it's just an hour to start. That's just the only way I think you can get enough eyes on it to really be successful, to be where he wants to go. Because obviously the goal is to put this this promotion on television.
Yeah, I mean, I think TV is so big in this day for professional wrestling. I think if you don't have something TV-wise or pay-per-view-wise, if you don't have some way of people seeing it without them having to go online to see stuff, there's no way for it to succeed. So,
Well, go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say, if he wants this to actually be successful, if he doesn't just want this to be a fun little project where you have a little promotion, I know he said he's also working with AAA. If he wants this to actually be successful, I think you're right. I think there needs to be some form of television in some regard. I think that there has to be backing. I mean, I'm sure they have money, but there needs to be more back. I mean, the way that TNA worked so well is because you had, Panda, that was completely behind them with TNA. You need backing. You need TV. I mean, basically, because of TV is a big reason why WCW went out.
Yeah. Well, here I throw this question to you because you were the ones that watched it a lot. When TNA first started, what they did was weekly pay-per-views on Wednesday nights. So It was $9.95 or whatever it was. What would you think if Jeff Jarrett did that and brought that back? Do you think it could be successful?
I think it can. But I think if you do that, I think they need to do things the way that TNA did them. Because if you remember, TNA would bring in just crazy random people. It would be a surprising show every single week, and it would not be a boring show at all. Like, they would have crazy gimmicks. They would introduce the X title. They would have Raven's, House of Horror matches or whatever.
House of Fun.
House of Fun. There we go.
It had some other name.
Yeah, I mean, it was, but the point is, I think it can work. It did work for TNA. I know me personally, I bought it, if not every week, I was buying it like every other week. So I think that's why I brought up pay-per-view. Not necessarily you need a $30 pay-per-view every month, although that could work in the beginning as well. But I think TNA's structure of having a weekly pay-per-view show for $9.95 did really well for TNA to at least get viewership noticing what TNA can bring. And then after a while, they were able to get a TV deal, and they were able to get people to be on board with TNA.
Yeah, it was the Clockwork Orange House of Fun match.
Yeah, there we go. Man, there's some awesome
whatever the fuck that was. But anyways,
it's probably Jeff Hart's idea.
I think what they need to do though is if they did do this, I think they'd have to lower the price to like $5.95 or something, because with the WWE Network starting at $9.99 a month, I mean that really puts it should be TNA, the new Jeff Jarrett promotion should be $4.99. So you would get 2 shows every 2 weeks for the price of 1 month of WWE Network. I think that would kind of even it out. But they're, like you said, they're going to have big names. Like the biggest name I could think of right now is if Jeff Jarrett came to CM Punk and said, here's a boatload of money, come help me out. And you will get people to buy it because it is CM Punk.
Can you imagine if he was able to do that? If he was able to pull away...
Well, he brought him in at TNA. He gave him his first television, the weekly pay-per-view shot. I mean, Jeff Jarrett was the guy to do it. So, I mean, I don't know their relationship offhand, but, that's just me.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right. If he was able to bring... Because he would have to have a big name to come with it. I mean, we're now at a time where it's not like it was with TNA, where you could still get people like Kevin Nash to come in, and Scott Hall, and a lot of these older WCW, a lot of these ECW guys, that they were still near the end of their career, but they were still big names to the viewership, and they were still able to perform good matches, or at least quality ones. We're not there anymore. We're way past that time.
It's like we hear the rumors of WWE wants to let Ray's contract run out and Christian's contract run out. Then if Jeff Jarrett could pick up Christian and Rey Mysterio, those are still big names. They could come in there and be successful and put asses in the seats and have people buy pay-per-views. Yeah,
and that's exactly what they would need to do, is to bring in guys like that. And last thing we wanted to kind of talk about was Roman Reigns. We're hearing a lot about the fact that Roman Reigns is the new face of or will be the new face of the WWE. They want him to kind of take the place of a John Cena. Do you buy the fact that Roman could be that guy?
I think he's talented. He's got the look. He's got all that going out for him. I haven't seen enough on the mic work to say, yes, he's going to be dynamite. I want to see him do a little better on the mic work, but he's got all the tools. He's got, everything going for him. I mean, with it being a face of the WWE, if you're going to be the big face, you're going to be the superhero. It's WWE right now is geared towards kids and getting the younger kids involved, buying merchandise and stuff, and that's what John Cena does right now. And he does all of his Make-A-Wish stuff. Can Roman Reigns be that kind of guy where, you know, a little kid wants to say, "Hey, I want to meet Roman Reigns over John Cena"? That's what I want to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think he over time will get better on the microphone. I think he's got the look. He's big. He's powerful. He has that cool factor to people. But I think it's way too soon to even be able to tell if he can be that guy. John Cena, whether you like him or not, I don't know if there's ever been anyone in professional wrestling history for the WWE or any company that has been able to do so much, not in the ring, but also outside of the ring for a company. He can.
Yeah, I mean, Hulk Hogan was as big as in the ring, but he was never as big out of the ring as John Cena.
I mean, John Cena does amazing things for Make-A-Wish and getting the WWE name out there as much as possible. I mean, he's there's no question about it. He's the face of the WWE. For anyone to be able to take that reign, I don't mean to say reign because of Roman Reigns, but to be able to take that to that kind of level would be asking more than anyone has ever been asked to do before. So look-wise, yeah, he could be, but it's all going to be able to tell is this something Roman really wants? Does he want to have that kind of responsibility that a John Cena has? Because that's not a lot. There's not a lot of people that would want that responsibility. A lot of people would just want to go into the WWE, have their dream job of being a professional wrestler for the best promotion in the world, and being the top guy. But when you're asked to not only have that lifestyle, but to also have the lifestyle of what John Cena does and give all of your free time basically still to this company, but not inside the ring, is asking a whole hell of a lot. So it'll be interesting to see if he is someone that is able to be okay with all that and do all that, because that's not an easy thing to do. But yeah, I mean, look wise, I definitely can buy it, and he will get better on the microphone. I'm really interested to see this Shield split, most notably for him, because once they do split, it's go time. There's no going back. He's got to show everyone that he was the main guy that everyone has been talking about for the last couple of months, because a lot of people thought it was going to be Dean Ambrose. I personally wanted it to be Seth Rollins just because I've loved Seth Rollins for a long time. Roman Reigns in NXT when he first came in there was pretty green, but he was a big guy and he could learn. And since getting moved up to the main roster, and especially after Royal Rumble, he has just honed his craft week after week, and he gets better and better and better. And he to me obviously is the best of the three for a whole package right now.
Yeah, I agree. I remember when the whole Shield gimmick was talked about in the beginning, and me and you looked at it, and we knew who Seth Rollins was, we knew who Dean Ambrose was, but we didn't really know who Roman Reigns was, and we were both kind of like, well, obviously this guy is going to be the weakest of the group, and looking at it a year and a half later, that's not the case at all. He's the strongest one of the group, and I think he has the best future of the three. I'm actually honestly looking forward to the future of the other two as well, but I don't know how far they're going to go with it. But yeah, when they break up, it's Reigns' time. It's time to go, and we'll see what he can do. I mean, I honestly think Daniel Bryan should be the face of the WWE after Cena, but I mean, Daniel Bryan's a lot older, so I'm guessing I see where they want to go with a younger guy like Reigns. It'll be interesting to see what happens, though. I wish him the best of luck, and I think he can do it.
Yeah, I think we all would love to see the face really being Daniel Bryan, but I think a lot of people do forget that Daniel Bryan and I mean CM Punk and Daniel Bryan are both around the same age. They're not young. They've been wrestling for a very long time, and they unfortunately didn't get to live out their dream of being in the WWE until they got to
they're mid-30s
exactly.
or so.
Yeah. So it's going to have to be someone younger. Of all the young people in the company right now, I would have liked to see it happen to a Dolph Ziggler, but doesn't seem that that's even in their mind frame right now. So if you're going to go with Reigns, I think Reigns could definitely do it. But yeah, we'll just have to see with that. But if you stayed on listening to this whole podcast, I thank you. We've gone over our usual hour time by about 15 minutes. We had a lot to go over this week. We'll try to get it under an hour next week, but
expect 3 shows next week, probably too.
Yes, 3 shows. What do we got planned, Eric, next week?
The recap of Raw, SmackDown, and hopefully Will the Wisp fucking debut. We're going to have a prediction show for the Elimination Chamber and probably a post-show of the Elimination Chamber. Probably a quick little half-hour post-show after the Elimination Chamber that night, and we'll talk about that. And then right after the Elimination Chamber, starting 9 a.m. the next morning, is the WWE Network launching. We've both have been looking forward to that for 44 days or whatever it was when they announced it. So we'll see how that all goes, and we'll talk about all that.
You realize that we are now going to lose about 15 Jeff Hardy followers of our only 62 followers, right?
I don't care. I fucking hate him.
Every Jeff Hardy fan now hates the rope break. Thank you very much. But yeah, we have a...
I don't like those fans at all. They're the only ones that cheer for him, and they don't understand what kind of a fuck-up he is and all the stupid shit he's done. But yet, let's put Jeff Hardy in a world title picture. Let's give him the belt. Woo! No, he don't fucking deserve it.
Oh, and with that, we are going to say a nice goodbye to you guys for this week. Yeah, we have a big week planned next week. We will see you next week. I'm sure Eric will go on another anti-Jeff Hardy raid next week as well.
Yeah.
See you guys next week. This was The Rope Break.
Yep, see you guys, and Will the Wisp. Woo! I am whatever I am, only God can judge me now.